Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis, and W253DF Memphis. Flynn Broadcasting Stations. It's time for Wolo and Friends on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Presented by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here is your host, the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
As I was walking down the street one day, a man came up to me and asked me what the time was that was on my watch.
Welcome in, wonderful Wednesday. Wolo, Zach Boyd with you. I'm sitting in here. We're making plans. You know, things are crazy. Already, like, we think the World Series is going to be Texas and Philly, right? I mean, why wouldn't you? Both are up 2-0. Of course, the Phillies now have to travel. They got to go to Arizona. They got to go to Phoenix. So I'm not as positive there. With the Rangers and the Astros, even though the Astros, we know, are as good as it gets, defending World Series champions, they've lost 2 at home. They go to the Rangers tonight. Guess who's on the mound in Dallas wearing the Texas uni? That would be Max Scherzer. That's almost a sure thing with Scherzer. Not really, but about as good as you're going to get, right? So you got to figure 3-love. And if it's 3-love, forget about it. But we're sitting here figuring because, you know, the Tigers are in Denton to play North Texas a week from Saturday. And I think the Rangers would have home field advantage over the Phillies because they played in the regular season and Texas beat Philly. So it could be a crew if we could get face value tickets to go to the World Series. That would be something else. It's crazy what's going on. How about if you go back, Zach, this may be a little bit before your time. It really shouldn't be, but the Cubs, what was going to be a dynasty, that included Rizzo and Bryant, Addison, Wilson Contreras. Schwarber is the last guy I'm going to bring up for this reason. Baez, don't forget Baez.
Oh, yeah, Javier.
Of all those guys, like, would you think the one that would last the longest, have the most impact on postseason and everything else would be Kyle Schwarber? Kyle Schwarber! I mean, he's about to play in his 3rd World Series, for goodness sake. Do you realize last night he had 2 home runs? Those 2 home runs give him 18 postseason home runs. Do you realize Kyle Schwarber, yes, the big chunky guy they made a leadoff guy, a guy who was a catcher who was so bad they moved to left field. Kyle Schwarber has 18 home runs from the left side of the plate. Only one other person has that many in postseason play in the history of the game. That's Mr. October. Not Red October, which is what these Phillies are. Mr. October. Reggie Jackson. They're the only guys. The next time Schwarber hits a home run in postseason, he's the greatest left-handed home run hitter in the history of baseball when it comes to postseason. Like, that's crazy. Schwarber? Off that Cubs dynasty? Wow, you never know in baseball, right? Bryant got injured. Rizzo's had a great career.
Yeah.
They should have all been in a Cub uniform. It's just so sad to me. But it is what it is. But, man, I don't know. So, like, Texas hasn't lost in postseason. The Phillies, listen to this. The Phillies have hit 15 home runs in the last 4 games. On top of that, how's this for a pitching stat? I heard who's the girl that does the Ernie Johnson role on some of these postgame shows? She's terrific. I don't remember her name. But she's now, does a lot of, well, at least on TBS, she does. I thought Ernie Johnson did them all, but she did last night. And she
Is
was,
it Clarissa Thompson? Or it could be somebody else.
No, I don't think so. Not to stereotype, but I believe it is a Hispanic name. And I could be wrong. Well, she's very good, whatever it is. And she came up with this stat, and so I'm assuming she's right on. How about this for numbers? In postseason play so far, the Philadelphia Philly pitching staff, Zach Wheeler, who was great for 5 innings the night before, last night they shut up baseball, right? They have, in postseason since it began, they have 51 strikeouts, 4 walks. 51-4 ratio. Holy mackerel. That with all those home runs, yeah, you're going to win ball games. That's crazy. Absolutely nuts. I don't know if indeed it comes out to be Texas and Houston, and let's be honest, at this point, wouldn't we be surprised if it wasn't? Who's the hot team? Who will you go with here? I guess you'd have to go with Texas because they beat Philly in the regular season, although both teams are so hot at the end, but they'd have home field advantage to begin with. So I guess you would go with Texas slightly, right? I certainly don't want to go up against Schwarber and Bryce. Man, those dudes, they're on fire. I mean, Harper's number, he's hitting like 365, driven in a bunch of runs, gets walks all the time. Man. Yeah, I felt bad for Arizona last night. I mean, a little pop-up, Evan Longoria, who's been around the league for 83 years. A little pop-up. And this is when things are not going your way. Little pop-up, the pitcher's supposed to call who it is. Otherwise, Longoria, the third baseman, is going to take over. And the ball falls right between the catcher, the pitcher, and the third baseman. I mean, that's just kind of the way the whole thing was going. But keep everybody's attention. We got big game 3 tonight with the Astros and the Rangers. So stay tuned because this is what postseason baseball is all about. That's for sure. And I'm checking here. I want to make sure that game is at 7 tonight, and that'll be Christian Javier and, as we mentioned, Max Scherzer. So you got to feel pretty good, I think, about the home team here, but we'll see. The Astros are fighting for their lives, that is for certain. I saw this piece yesterday, and I alluded to it yesterday a little bit. I want to talk about for just a second, and that is as the Tigers get set to take on UAB, which, by the way, is going to be a fun game. The Trent Dilfer story from high school football, being a longtime pro quarterback to being a first-year head football coach at the collegiate level, taking over UAB for a guy who resurrected the program. It's a terrific story. They absolutely, like a good quarterback, they can score, right? They have some offense. They are in the 30s. They don't play much defense except for one thing. They turn you over. Do you realize they have 9 fumbles recovered in the 6 games they've played? 9 fumbles recovered. So they'll turn you over. I mean, the record is not real pretty. They haven't really beaten anybody who is good, maybe USF if they're good, because they played Alabama close, I don't know. But Memphis has seen the line now go from 5 when it opened, and the money is going on the Tigers. Now it's at 6. I think it'll be maybe a high-scoring affair. I like it, but I saw a little blip talking about Seth Hennigan yesterday, and the person's point was in this video that Hennigan is a game over 500 in his career against teams besides Bethune-Cookman or bye games. When it comes to games against competition, either your level in your league or an SEC team, he's one game over 500. There is no mention of the numbers that he is putting up. There is no mention of defensive statistics. There is no mention of line play or a running game to take the pressure off of the quarterback. There's just the numbers. I don't know if this is designed by this particular person to get Tevin Carter a look. I will share personally, I thought for a moment when Seth Hennigan was 1 for 10 to start the game the other day against Tulane that you might see Tevin Carter just to say, Seth, you need to watch from the sideline and settle down or wake up or whatever was needed at that point. He did it on his own because then he was an effective quarterback after that. The second pick that was thrown was not his fault. That was the receiver, Rock Taylor, not looking. Ball hit him in the shoulder pads, right? Went right to the opposition. That's not, in my opinion, on Seth Hennigan. That is on Rock Taylor. So I think just on W's and L's, it is pretty impossible to gauge the effectiveness of a quarterback. I think you have to look at other factors. Does Tevin Carter, I'll say this. I believe, because we asked in our meetings with coaching staff, I asked Tim Cramsey straight up, do you have faith in Tevin Carter if Seth Hennigan were to go down? And the word was absolutely, without a question. We think the guy's going to be really good. So 1 for 10, I get it that you might say, let's let this guy have a chance, at least let the other guy look and see what's been going on. And I don't have a problem with all that. But I also want to tell you the best chance that Memphis has, at least at this point, from everything I've seen, and though coaches know from practice, the best chance to win is a guy who's been really good, who's got a chance, if he were to stay another year, to obliterate the passing record. Now, Memphis has had great quarterbacks the last few, from Paxton Lynch, Brady White, Riley Ferguson. Yeah, they've had great quarterbacks, no doubt. But this kid's right up in there. And it is midway through his third year. Let's see what happens. I just thought it was not a well-thought-out argument on the efficiency of Seth Hennigan. In the meantime, I'm sitting in the Family Leisure Studios. We got a new thing going on. It's the overstock sale. Hey, they need help. Clear out their overstock inventory, and you can get some patio sets up to 50% off. We're talking half price. Play gyms under $2,000 now. Extended sale pricing on all in-stock hot tubs and swim spas. Winter pool closings, the things you need for that, 30% off. I mean, there's some deals to be had. At I-40 and Whidden Road, where they need your help, they got a overstock sale going on. Clear out the place at Family Leisure. And you know, our title sponsor, and they have been now for years and years and years. And we thank all the people that have been involved, and there have been several over these years. But Genesis of Olive Branch, you can't beat it. That's why they have such great customer retention, and you can't beat the product. This is luxury at its very best. The technology, we all love the newest, right? Newest, the shiniest, the prettiest, something that you figure it's going to last forever. That's what you got with a Genesis car. And right now, GV70s, GV80s, special pricing. Special financing, all you got to do is get to Highway 78 Lamar, and the first exit in Mississippi 78 is Craft Road in Mississippi. Turn left, and you're there. Go see Chris True. Go see Vinny Gerard. He's the guy over the Genesis cars. You'll love it. You'll absolutely love the experience at Genesis of Olive Branch. Steve Earhart, fresh from the Rocky Mountains, went to a reunion. What team was this? Was the 1923 Colorado something?
All right, I take that to heart. Yeah, Dutch Clark was our teammate in the 20s there, but no, it was. But you're right, it was in the 60s there. But and we had a couple of teammates went to the NFL. We weren't that good both in those days, but glad to be here with you, Dave. And we can talk modern football
Earhart
today.
was a quarterback in those days. They didn't have plastic helmets yet. Maybe your most famous teammate ended up being in the NFL, but not in front of the camera, behind the camera. Am I right?
Yeah, Steve Sable. He was a fullback, and when I was playing quarterback out in Colorado, and Steve was an amazing guy. You could just tell that he was going to be a phenomenal star in his own right. Really, he and his dad, started NFL Films. Then the NFL itself bought NFL Films, but Steve ran it, and he had such great creativity. I can remember him sitting down there in the fraternity house, and then Bart's star shines brighter by far in the frozen tundra of Green Bay. So he created all, and probably he was responsible for the great value of the NFL, because he put music to it, he put poetry, he put the close-ups, and he hired a lot of his buddies. I didn't go to work for him, to be cameramen to carry those cameras for all those close-up shots. Back in those days, the broadcast networks just had high cameras shooting high, but he brought it home with the gnarled fingers and down
he did. It was
the line of
unbelievable.
scrimmage.
Plus, he found this anchor. I don't know how he found him, from Philadelphia, named John Facenta, who I believe was a news anchor. And I don't know who wrote the scripts with the poetry and the philosophy, because it was amazing stuff. But Facenta's delivery was, I still think, the greatest narration of any regular program, because it was regular programming, that we've ever seen. And I don't know how Sable found him, but that was sheer brilliance.
Well, you're bringing up some great memories, David, because Steve Sable was from the Philadelphia area. He ended up coming out to Colorado, and he started his PR campaign about his player. He had his own posters made with his picture and distributed. But, yeah, he found John Facenda in Philadelphia. And you're right, Steve wrote the poetry and the creativity part, and then Facenda. And so some of your listeners out there, queue up an old NFL films from the early days. You'll really enjoy those. And they still use, remember the Raiders song when the cold winds blow and the Raiders come ashore.
Exactly.
They still use that today. But you're right, the great memories. We certainly miss Steve Sable. He was inducted in the NFL Football Hall of Fame, but unfortunately he passed away. He had brain injury there, and so he's gone. But he was a great friend, great teammate. Taught me an awful lot. He was a couple of years older, but remember going on the first road trip, and we had $6 of meal money. I was going to order hamburgers. Come on, you got to order a steak when you're on the road with me, So I think I had a $5.99 steak, the first meal with Steve Sable. But great memories. Thanks for going down that lane.
All right, let's talk bowl business. That's what we do with you every Wednesday. And let's start with the bowl projections, which I find pretty good. We've got these projections down for every single bowl plus the playoffs. Or we think we do, and we're halfway through, basically. But the latest ESPN prediction for the AutoZone Liberty Bowl is Kentucky, Texas Tech. Does that ring your bell if it actually came true?
Yeah, and it is amazing, Dave. Around the country, this is one of the lead stories that all the national folks put out is their projections, and we're halfway through, but it's starting to think. But I'm going to read you some of these projections, and then I want you to have your analysis here at the end, but these are so many of these national networks, so they're all over the place. Here, Action Network has Auburn versus Iowa State. Sporting News has Tennessee versus TCU. One of the ESPN guys has Missouri versus Oklahoma State. Athlon Sports has Kentucky versus West Virginia. College Football News has Texas A&M versus Kansas State. 247, here's a little different one, has Florida versus TCU. CBS Sports and Jerry Palm have Auburn versus Kansas State, and then another ESPN has Kentucky versus Oklahoma State. So it's all over the place. Any one of those would be a great matchup with the SEC versus the Big 12. But kind of like that Auburn, bringing the coach back to town here. And yeah. Auburn has not been in our game since the days of Bo Jackson. So now give me the Dave Alotion sweepstakes here.
Well, let's try to be realistic, right? Okay, so the Music City Bowl never lets Tennessee get here. So let's throw Tennessee out the window. I hate to say it because I'd love for them to come, but they never get here.
Well, but just to correct, and you're right, Tennessee is difficult, but the Nashville Bowl is on an equal pairing with us. They don't have the right to,
Well,
to
they
take Tennessee ahead of us.
may be, but they seem to get them every time over you. I hate to say it.
All right.
All right,
Okay.
now, Florida has never been here, so I'm throwing them out the window. They're not going to leave the state of Florida, probably. So I'm not going to put them in there.
Okay.
I would love it if Auburn came, because I think that's a good story. I'd love to hear the BS that Hugh Freeze is going to throw around. It would be fun. He's charismatic. And I know his team is struggling a little bit. I know he doesn't have his team yet. He doesn't have his quarterback quite yet. But that would be an intriguing story to have Auburn come. So and when's the last time Auburn was at the AutoZone Liberty Bowl?
It was Bo Jackson's year.
That's what I thought,
believe
a long time ago.
Yeah, and so it's been almost, it's been over 40 years since he was here, and he had that great run down the sidelines. And folks might remember, I see it on video all the time where he runs right down the sideline there, when it was, patented runs there. So, yeah, having Auburn here, and, it would be great to have them. And, their new athletic director was the athletic director, down at Mississippi State. So
right.
Between he and Hugh, that would be a great participant for us.
So I'm okay with that. And then on the other side, I don't know, between Texas Tech, Kansas State, which seems like they bring people. They're good folks to have around. Who else is in the mix between the TCU is mentioned a lot?
TCU, Iowa State, Oklahoma State.
Iowa State. Iowa State is always really good for. I think they run out of beer down on Beale Street because of Iowa State.
That is 100% right, and we haven't. We've had them a couple of times. We've had each of those teams a couple of times. I would probably say Texas Tech was here just 2 years ago. Remember when they played Mississippi State, and then last year we had Kansas. And Kansas was not mentioned. That's because we all in the bowl business try and avoid having a team come 2 years in a row. Although it does happen, and we wouldn't be adverse to it if something does occur there. And if all of a sudden Arkansas, straightens out and gets 6 wins. They were here last year, but that's one reason why the Arkansas, Kansas, those two teams are not mentioned in these projections.
Well, you don't want repeats. I think I'm either Iowa State or Kansas State because I want Adam Walker to come back. That would be fun. That's selfish. I think they'd sell tickets, both of them, so that'd be good.
All right, so I need to mark you down on all our communications that Dave Alotian projects. Is it Auburn versus Iowa State? That's what you're projecting.
There you go, Auburn or Kansas State. Auburn,
you don't
Kansas
get an
State
either
or Iowa State.
You got to make your decision. If I'm going to publish the Dave Alotian projection here,
you are really, really being tough on me here.
I'm tough on you. You can't have this equivocation. Pick one or the other.
Gosh, man, you can be so mean sometimes. I guess it's that old age and this reunion is giving you new.
I think it's just you equivocating. You need to make a decision.
Okay, I'm gonna say Iowa State is 4-3 at the moment. Kansas State is 4. I'd go Kansas State. They got more wins. Auburn, right, Kansas State.
Okay, I got you. That's a good projection, and we'll see if that works out. And you agree with CBS Sports, pretty good prognosticator.
That's where they went, huh? Okay, very good.
Yeah, that's good. I'll put you down.
All right,
You're
friend.
now going to be in print.
There you go. Welcome back. Nice to have you. Glad you're all rested up.
Yeah, one other thing, and we haven't really talked about in your show, that going back to the days of Danny Thomas and Elvis Presley, the AutoZone Liberty Bowl always honors a musical group, because as Danny said, there's two ways to get the message to the American public. That's through entertainment and sports. So we always honor a group at halftime. They play. We get some coverage on ESPN, and then the President's Gala the night before the game. So that would be on December 28th there at the Peabody, and you usually there dancing up the storm.
I can't wait.
There's going to be some great songs. The theme this year is the music that made Memphis, and of course the legendary Bar-Kays are going to be knocking out every one of the great songs that the music that made Memphis. And here's just for you, David, since you'll be getting your dancing shoes ready.
Just don't sing them. Just give me the names.
All right, I won't sing them, but here's just a few of the ones that they've got on their playlist: Soul Finger, Hold On, I'm Coming.
Oh, I love that.
Soul Man,
That's
Knock
Dave-
on Wood.
That's David Porter right
Shaft,
there. Ooh, wow.
Shaft, Proud Mary, sitting on the dock of the
Man.
bay when they were touring with Otis Redding. And so their playlist is just phenomenal. And, of course, they're a hometown, group. James Alexander started the group, when he was still at Melrose High School, of all things. So we wanted to honor a great local group. They've sold 25 million records, and they've had 29 albums. And so they'll be featured
Absolutely
at the President's Gala.
Great pick. We're out of time. Thank you, my friend. We'll pick them again next week. But congratulations on the Barquets. I'm really excited about that. I hope I'm able to go. We appreciate it.
Thank you, David.
Thank you. That is Steve Earhart, the big cheesehead honcho of the AutoZone Liberty Bowl. He's brought to you by Grind City Brewing. I saw a piece on Grind City. I think Action News 5 did a piece on this. At one time it was just a dream between a father and a son, and my gosh, what a reality it has become. They like to say they take care of beerness in Memphis, but it goes beyond that. I mean, it is a taste of Memphis. And they've always got new products. You can always count on Poppy's Pills, what the doctor ordered. That's the Pilsner. That's their number one seller. The other one that does so well is the Pale Ale, the Godhopper. That does terrific. New products. If you like an amber lager, there's the Thaddeus. If you like the Blue Moonish kind of Belgian-style wheat ale, they got the Belga. That's a perfect name for that. They got Tiger Tails, Tiger's craft beer. It's a craft, absolute amazing malt liquor. It's not like what your grandfather's malt liquor was like. It's different. It's great. It's the taste of Memphis. It's Grind City Brewing. Go check out the brewery downtown. It's absolutely gorgeous, Grind City. When we come back to Forest City, we head. Our friend Stats Norsworthy on the SEC. He comes your way in a minute.
Start your day with Sports 56 Mornings with Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy. Weekday mornings from 7 to 10, right here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Sports and blinds, they just go together. And right now, all Sports 56 listeners get $50 off any order at Blinds Etc. South. Real wood, 3.5 to 4.5 inch plantation shutters made in the Mid-South are always affordable at Blinds Etc. South. And now get $50 off your order. Get your free in-home consultation at 901-681-0225 or go to blindsetcetera.southllc.com. Upgrade your home with custom-made plantation shutters and window treatments from Blinds Etc. South. Oh, come on, it's funny.
Can't do it.
Trick or treat, here's some meat.
Seriously, the Central Barbecue spot for October has been about Halloween for like 5 straight years.
Look, you've done the ladling Central Barbecue beans into their bag thing.
Yeah, I got in trouble both times. They didn't like the phrase ladling beans into their bag.
Well, what else happens in October? Hey, I tell you what, do they do any pumpkin spice stuff?
God, no.
That's good. I'm tapped for anything else for October. How about just a straight spot about how great the food is at Central Barbecue?
What, like Central Barbecue has the best slow-smoked ribs in Memphis?
Yeah, something like that.
Too boring.
It doesn't matter, we're out of time anyway.
Response to the all-new Genesis Diamonds has been incredible. People are loving what we've brought to Memphis. Genesis is a different kind of jewelry store with more jewelry than you've ever seen in one place at prices you never thought possible. What people really love about Genesis is the transparency, the education. Genesis is revealing all the long-held secrets of the diamond industry. We'll teach you how to buy like a dealer buys, how to understand the ways diamonds are priced by the wholesalers, how slight variations in size and clarity can translate into thousands in savings passed along to you. At Genesis, our non-commissioned diamond experts are here to guide you every step of the way. Our diamond education will make you a better, more informed consumer. Even if you don't buy from us, we'll make you a more dangerous shopper when you visit other places. Discover the Genesis difference, forever changing how people in Memphis buy diamonds and fine jewelry. Now open at Poplar and Perkins, the official jeweler of the Tennessee Titans.
This holiday season, Conway Services, part of the ARS network, would like to recognize those making a difference in our communities. Through our national ARS Cares Community Heroes program, we want to give back to a community hero for the positive impact they have made by giving them a new heating and cooling system or water heater. Take a minute to nominate your deserving community hero in need by visiting ars.com/ARS Cares.
Now back to Wolo and Friends on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM, presented by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again is the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
Lonely feeling deep inside.
Couldn't help but think about Brett Norsworthy this morning when I'm doing all my prep, looking at the World Series and the possibilities. And I know we're going to talk SEC, Mr. Norsworthy, but Texas, last time they were in the World Series, you, me, and lots of Cardinal family members behind the plate. Game 6. Unbelievable. 1 out away, the Rangers from the World Series. David Freese says no. I'll remember that forever. One strike.
One strike, not once, but twice.
Whew. That was so much fun. That really was. And, like, I got a lot of baseball memories from back to childhood, but that may be numero uno. Come on. That was one of the greatest World Series of all time.
It was 10-9, only two 10-9 games ever in the World Series. That game, Game 6, and the Mazeroski homer against the Yankees in Game 7 in 1960. And that's why I'm for the Rangers, because we saw their guts torn out. Not only were they torn out in 2011, they had been to back-to-back World Series in 10 and 11. So it really stung, and they've had the big rebuild since then. And Dave, I contend that if Bruce Bochy finishes this off, he's got 2 more to go in the ALCS, and then the 4 in the World Series. But that'll be 4 World Series titles for him, 3 in the National League, with the Giants in 10, 12, and 14, defeating the Rangers in 2010. And now this one, that's 4 World Series. Joe Torre got 4 with the Rangers. With the Yankees, me and you could have been managing those Yankees teams that Joe Torre won it. If Bochy wins it,
he's great.
Greatest modern manager ever.
I don't dispute that. Have we got the World Series? Do you believe? Scherzer on the mound in Dallas tonight. Astros, the defending champs, down 2-0. Come on, they're in. And the Phillies.
It's no gimme. It's not a layup.
Did you hear my open about Kyle Schwarber? I mean, of all those Cubs, he's the guy. Unbelievable. That's what I love about baseball.
Yeah, I wouldn't have thought it. I would have thought Chris Bryant ahead of him.
Yeah.
I would have thought Addison Russell ahead
Rizzo.
of him. For sure, Rizzo. Yeah,
Baez.
Rizzo was a little before that vintage, but yeah.
It's just incredible that Schwarber has become this guy. I mean, he's hitting 197, but what he's doing with getting on base with walks and home runs, it's a thing of beauty. I like the guy, too. He's a really interesting interview. So, anyway, so have we got that World Series? Should I try to get tickets when I'm in Denton?
I think you should.
Okay. There you go. You're in agreement there. All right. Georgia, I don't know if anybody can dispute it. They're the only ones that are undefeated still in the SEC, the best team in the league. Are they great? Are they a great Georgia team?
They're not yet, but they still have a chance to be, but it's really going to be inhibited now with the loss of Brock Bowers and what he provides for that offense and the safety valve guy that he is for Carson Beck and just the offensive weapon that he is, what he is in short yardage, maybe even on tight end reverses, on just little tunnel screens to him. They're really going to miss him. And now for Georgia, open date this week, then cocktail party, Mizzou in Athens, and then Ole Miss in Athens, and then they go to Tennessee. So it's going to be a lot tougher schedule-wise for them after the break than it's been before. But so far, so good for them. And the pressure really mounting to go 3 in a row. I think I see it a little bit in Kirby Smart with some kind of football coach cryptic answers about the loss of Bowers and the next man up mentality.
Can Bowers come back for postseason?
They even think he might be back for the Tennessee game. I think that's a little hopeful, but certainly by Georgia Tech, the Thanksgiving weekend, and by SEC championship game weekend. But, Dave, if he was your son, and you've won 2 national championships, you helped Georgia win 2 national championships, you're going to be drafted next year in Detroit and then at the NFL draft within the first hour of the NFL draft. Don't you just say we're going to get good and well, and we think we've done enough for Georgia football. Thank you very much. We'll see you at the draft. If he was yours, what would you tell him?
Here's what I would say, son. Here's what you're risking, but it's up to you. I never discount the college experience, the friendships. Look, I've seen a lot of guys who
he's had all that.
I know that. But there's the camaraderie, there's the investment in these guys right now still. They're your teammates, they're your warriors. And I swear to you, the majority of the time, if you ask a guy who was a great college player who became a great pro player, the memories they cherish the most, the teammates they have the longest relationships with, end up being the college guys rather than the pro guys, because the pro guys get traded and it's business. You're fighting.
But his rookie contract sets him for life.
Yeah.
If you shred that ankle again and you just go on to a great commercial real estate business in Phoenix the rest of your life, it's not the same kind of money.
Well, I just think some of those guys, and I'll give you a great example of a friend of yours who used to be on your show, that did ESPN radio, that was an All-American at Alabama, that had a very pedestrian
had the very same
NFL career, and yet is a major success in other businesses. I got a feeling Brock Bowers is going to be good at whatever he does.
I think he will be too. And you're talking about Barrett Jones.
Yeah.
It's the very same injury, and at Alabama, they really got that surgery and that rehab down on that injury. Same injury that Tua Tagovailoa had at Alabama and others. And Barrett Jones played in that national championship game against Notre Dame on an ankle that it probably cost him 2 years in the NFL. On the back end, it probably cost him some NFL laps around the track, but that's what he wanted to do. You're right. That's a decision they have to make. But if you're looking at it, you want to make this decision for 22 or for 40. For 22, you want to play. For 40, you might want that security.
Right. Well, that could very well be. That's a tough call, but I do think you value those moments as a collegiate player, especially when you're, a chance to make history. I mean, 3 straight national titles. I mean,
a national championship ring better be fun to look at as you grow older.
Sometimes memories are pretty darn important. It also takes him out of any kind of conversation for the Heisman. Both you and I have Heisman votes. I think at this moment, no, we're only halfway through, so I absolutely reserve the right to change my mind. But if I were picking today, Michael Penix, after what he did the other day against Oregon.
He would be my one right now, but I sure reserve the right to change. And we see so often the Heisman really boil down to about from November 10th on, and championship weekend really impacts it. And then that's the end of the voting. The bowls have nothing to do with it, never have. But Michael Penix, he very well could rematch with Oregon in the Pac-12 championship game. That was a classic. But right now, his story. And, Dave, he's played parts of college football since 2018. He was a freshman at IU in 2018. This is his 6th year of college football.
He was at Indiana?
He was on Indiana's team as a freshman and played
I forgot
in
about
2018.
That. So that means – oh, you're talking Penix. I'm sorry.
Uh-huh.
I was thinking Bo Nix for a second there because
Bo Nix has been around a while too.
He has. But I was going to say
Since
Penix
19.
and Bo Nix couldn't have been teammates at Indiana. I know that Bo was at
Auburn.
Bo
Nix was at Auburn.
Yeah, I knew that. I was thinking, was there another team, another school? Because I do these charts every week, and I see there are so many people because of COVID now that are playing on their 3rd school. UAB's got 2 or 3 of them.
Nobody knows the eligibility, and you're right. There are a lot of people that have been around at a lot of places.
No question about it. So you're with me, Penix would be your pick if we were picking today?
If I had to vote right now, yeah.
Yeah, okay. In the West, Alabama, perfect, 4-0 in league play, but Ole Miss, LSU, 1-loss teams. It seems as if this is the most vulnerable of the Nick Saban teams that I can remember in a while. Never seen a Nick Saban team with as many penalties and dumb plays as this team seems to make, and yet here they are. They're 4-0 at league play. Are they going to win the West?
They're going to win the West, and they are vulnerable. But so far, nobody in the West has gotten them. Ole Miss couldn't, State couldn't, A&M couldn't at College Station, and Arkansas couldn't, playing pretty well against Alabama
in
last
Tuscaloosa,
week. And now,
yeah.
And now third Saturday of October, and Nick Saban's only lost one time while he's been coach at Alabama to Tennessee, and that was last year. Tennessee hadn't won in Tuscaloosa since 2003, so it's been 20 years since they've won there. And even Mike Shula beat Tennessee in 2005, so they haven't won in Tuscaloosa since 03. And that was 3 or 4 overtimes.
Bama's 9-point favorite in that game, which to me is a pretty hefty amount. Now, I think
a little heavy.
I think we're a little disappointed in Tennessee's production. I think it's amazing that Heupel went to run the ball against A&M when you know he is a spread pass the ball all over the place guy. So that shows you.
That looked like a.
Go ahead.
That looked like a Philip Fulmer, Doug Matthews game plan Saturday, or Johnny Majors game plan Saturday.
Doesn't that impress you, though?
I
mean, considering you know what his DNA is, and yet he's trying to figure out, okay, I can't do what I normally do with this team, but I want to win.
Yeah, you gotta
so
win a game.
I'm going to figure out a way, and I give him credit for that.
I do too, and that's why I think Hugh Freeze will come out with Robbie Ashford a lot Saturday for Auburn to try to run him as the primary runner. When Peyton Thorne's your leading rusher at Auburn, and he's got 4 touchdowns passing and 4 touchdowns and 4 interceptions, they don't have a lot of offensive firepower. I think it'll be a lot of Robbie Ashford in kind of a one-game game plan to win a game and try to pull the upset over Ole Miss. Ole Miss has only won twice at Auburn in the 21st century, and going for back-to-back wins. Beat them last year in Oxford, and going for back-to-back wins over Auburn for the first time since 52 and 53.
I got to ask you about Missouri. I saw them up close. I love their quarterback. Obviously, I'm crazy about their receiver burden.
He only had 2 catches last week, and they still won.
They still won, and they won easily at Kentucky, which is, to me, a pretty good football team. So
I think it's a pretty good running back, too, at Mizzou.
Oh, yeah. There's no doubt about that.
Over 100 against Memphis Tigers.
Yeah, no, he's good. He's the real deal. They got a good line. Let's face it. They've got a good O-line.
They do. They have a big O offensive line.
Yeah.
They do.
So they play at Georgia November the 4th, I think. Now, they've got to take care of business at home against South Carolina this week. But do you think there's any chance that Missouri can match up with Georgia?
I don't. I think over the 4 quarters it'll be mostly Georgia, especially with Georgia coming off of open date and Mizzou having a very challenging game. Georgia's open date this week and then cocktail party while Mizzou's playing South Carolina, and then they have open date.
My friend, as always, we appreciate it. Looking forward to the weekend. Good luck. I know you love going to the Plains. Man, the state of Alabama, Birmingham, try to get a – I could actually meet you in Gianmarco's. We've got a 8 o'clock. My wife and I have a group.
I pass. I'll be in the state capital of Montgomery Friday night.
Because we'll be at Gianmarco's in Birmingham, but it's hard to get a reservation or a hotel room because, as you said, you got Ole Miss Auburn, you got Tennessee and Alabama and Tuscaloosa, and Memphis and UAB. Wow, what a day.
That starts at 11.
Football.
You got 11, 2:30, and 6 in a place that no place loves college football more than State Alabama.
No question. Have fun.
You got it.
Thank you. That is our man, Brett Norsworthy, on the SEC and a whole lot more. He's brought to you by Dinstall's. Don't forget Dinstall's. And what is their signature now? Look, let's face it, it's seasonal. Well, we talk about strawberries. Nobody does it with the fondant that they have. It's unique. It's the best. It's clearly the best. Any strawberry in the world cannot beat a Dinstall strawberry, pure and simple. Then I got Cashew Crunch, right? Cashew Crunch, all year round taste of Memphis. But nobody does caramel apples like Dinstall's either. Fresh apples, because they're into the fruit thing, right? Fresh. They don't ever take something that's not in season. Then they'll do it with caramel. They can do it with caramel and pecans. They can do it with caramel, pecans, and chocolate, that famous milk chocolate. Or, let's take it a step further, they'll even put Cashew Crunch on it. You just can't beat Dinstall's, and you got 5 locations. Downtown. Got where they make it in Pleasant View. You got Germantown. You got Collierville. You got my neck of the woods, Laurelwood. 5 places to get what is the sweetest thing about Memphis. Simple. It's Dinstall's. Back in a minute to Baton Rouge we go. And our friend Ron Higgins, SEC historian, is standing by.
We are real sports talk. Sports 56 WHBQ. Available on your radio dial at 560 AM and 98.5 FM, as well as around the world online at sports56whbq.com. Take us with you everywhere by downloading the Sports 56 app. And at home, just say, Alexa, play Sports 56. Wherever you are, stay tuned in to Real Sports Talk. Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Jenkins Floors and More in Hernando is growing. This family business started up 5 years ago with just one pallet, and now they have hundreds. Tim, the owner, gets calls from people everywhere and can sometimes save them up to 50% on wood flooring, carpet, tile, and vinyl. Jenkins Floors and More helps with renovations, home building, and installation. Jenkins Floors and More, number 6 East Commerce Street in Hernando. Also in Little Rock and coming soon to Tennessee. Call 662-469-9350 for more information.
Hewlett & Dunn Boot and Clothing Company, we have it all. From handmade Amish leather belts, fine and casual clothing, boots, casual boots, work boots, fancy boots, and even safety-toed boots. Lots of cowboy hats to choose from, even Nebo lights, good-looking duck head dress shirts, duck head caps, shorts, and pants. Tons of jeans from Ariat, Wrangler, Devil Dog, and Kimes Ranch jeans. At Hewlett & Dunn, we have a great selection of Old South t-shirts and caps, fine clothing from dress to casual to Sunday best. Enjoy choosing from UFO's orthopedic-approved shoes. Hewlett & Dunn Boot and Clothing Company. Boots of every size, every color, every skin. Great quality Western, work, and safety toe boots. Hewlett & Dunn Boots and Clothing Company. 111 North Center Street, Collierville. Hewlett & Dunn. Hewlett & Dunn, serving you and your family since 1961.
If that sound gives you nightmares, there's a cheap and easy way to avoid engines not firing. Stable, America's #1 fuel stabilizer, ensures quick and easy starts after storage. Stable's proprietary formula keeps fuel fresh for 2 years, outperforming competitors. Pour Stable in your gas can or directly into the tank of your car, truck, hybrid, boat, ATV, motorcycle, or lawnmower to prevent fuel-related engine problems that cost time and money. When you store, start with Stable.
Go where the season takes you, and it'll take you to huge savings at Gossett Mitsubishi on the Pike. Be packed with power in 2024 Mitsubishi Mirage G4. 37 mpg combined, $18,755 or $199 a month. Ready for adventure? 2023 Mitsubishi Outlander Sport, $25,595 or $299 a month. Plus 7 seating and top safety pick 2024 Mitsubishi Outlander SUV, $32,185 or $399 a month. And every new Gossett Mitsubishi is equipped with Mitsubishi's 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. You want it, we Gossett. Gossett Mitsubishi, 1870 Covington Pike, or 24/7 at memphismitsubishi.com.
If you want it, we Gossett and Gossett Motor Cars.
All 84 months, 500 military rebate, loyalty, conquest rebate, 500 G4, RHFO 1918, MSRP 19255, Sport, PU 015-137, MSRP 26595, Outlander RZ 006545, MSRP 33185, includes all rebates and incentives, PF 695, excludes tax title and license. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through end of the month with approved credit, dealer stock only.
East Memphis Ace Hardware is more than just a hardware store. It's really a customer service store. With 20 employees along with complete inventory of items, big to little, finding what you need is easy. Choosing from a complete selection of Big Green Egg as well as Traeger and Weber grills, and the Garden Center has everything for your yard. You can get glass cut, repair screens, even new keys with key fob programming. Tools, nuts, bolts, screws, you need it, East Memphis Ace Hardware has it, and they're just down the street at the corner of Quince and White Station.
Now back to Wolo and Friends on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM, presented by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again is the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
Good news this morning for our friend Charles Davis, the former Tennessee Volunteer, who has been a veteran now with CBS Sports for many, many years, number 2 of the analysts on the National Football League. He is going to be the MC for the 65th edition of the National Football Foundation Annual Awards Dinner in Las Vegas. Congratulations to him. Nobody loves the Vols more than he does. And we go down to Baton Rouge to talk to our SEC historian, Ron Higgins, the Vols have a pretty big game this week. That is in Tuscaloosa against Alabama. Do the Vols have any chance against an Alabama team that is certainly a vulnerable team this year? Good morning.
Good morning. If the Vols get any kind of quarterback play, but that's always questionable. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'm not a big Joe Milton guy.
No.
He hasn't played freshman very much. Their running game certainly is great. That's probably going to be the way they have to beat them. And, it's always tough to run on Alabama, but, I mean, that's Tennessee's strength. They have 3 good backs. They run well. It's a good way to shorten the game. Does Tennessee have a shot? Yeah, I think they have a shot. Alabama's not invincible this year. They're just not. They don't scare you. I watched them a bunch on TV, and their quarterback blows hot and cold. Their offense blows hot and cold. Their defense blows. There's nothing consistent about them, which is the most shocking thing because you always expect Nick Saban teams to be consistent, and they're still trying to kind of find their way. The fact Arkansas pushed them to the limit last week was pretty stunning. I just want to see Arkansas win a couple of games. I think they play really hard. They just don't have enough talent, but that was a game where they gave it their all, and Alabama was kind of ordinary. So yeah, I mean, I think Alabama has a chance to lose just about any game on their schedule. I don't know who they have left. I know they got LSU in a couple of weeks, which will basically it will probably likely be for the West title. Now, I know Ole Miss has got one loss, but they got to play at Georgia late in the year. So this could be a tiebreaker game for LSU Alabama in a couple of weeks in Tuscaloosa.
Well, and Ole Miss has to play Auburn this week on the Plains, and they're favorites, and they clearly should be favorites because this is a rebuild year for Hugh Freeze.
Absolutely.
But they're only 6.5-point favorites, and this is weird. I saw this. I saw Lane Kiffin commenting about this. The last time, because they beat Auburn last year, the last time they beat Auburn in 2 straight years was 1952.
Well, somebody gave them a good stat. But, I mean, I'll tell you, I mean, I had, when he was in Baton Rouge last week, I had stopped in by Team Hotel. We had dinner together for like 30 or 40 minutes. We talked about going to Auburn and stuff. And he goes, right now, I'm just really short in some really key positions. And, I mean, he goes, I like my quarterbacks, but, honestly, we're really kind of weak at receiver and kind of frustrating. He goes, we just got to get past this year. But he likes to he likes Auburn, and he said there's a lot of jobs that Jimmy Sexton wanted him to pursue. He didn't because he really loved Liberty. He goes, He goes, I love Liberty.
By the way, Liberty is now 7-0 after Middle Tennessee handed them a game last night.
Yeah, right. That was a wild game. But yeah, I mean, Alabama's beatable. Can Tennessee get them? Sure, they can get them. They got them last year, I believe. So it's hard to beat Alabama 2 years in a row. Yeah, that's pretty much. I think LSU's only done that one time, like in 1969 and 70, before the Bear discovered the wishbone. Mm-hmm. But it could happen. But again, Alabama's beatable. As we discussed before, the SEC is good this year. It's not great, and that includes Georgia too. Good, but not great.
Is Alabama the best team in that division? Look, it comes down to these 3 teams: Alabama, LSU, Ole Miss, right? And Alabama beat Ole Miss, so Alabama's better than Ole Miss. We know that. So now it comes down to the Alabama-LSU game. Who's going to win that game, in your opinion?
LSU's always played well in Alabama the last 2 years. LSU's got a better offense than Alabama. They're probably better than Alabama. Just got every position on the offense, except for maybe just a couple of line spots. But quarterback's better, running back's better, receivers are better, tight end's better. But Alabama's defense and LSU's defense, Alabama's probably better because LSU's kind of been really tough in the secondary, not very good. Getting a little bit better, but still not there. It's a game LSU can win, but it's at Alabama, and I mean they'll be favored. But LSU will not go in there scared, I guarantee you. And again, LSU won last year in Baton Rouge in overtime, and Alabama knows that. So this will be a really, really good game. I mean, I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully, it'll be a nice 2:30 CBS game, so I don't have to get out of the stadium at 1 o'clock in the morning.
Right.
But it'll be great. It'll be good. It'll be good. I mean,
you alluded to the fact that this is not a dominating year for the SEC. Who would you say is the best conference in America? You can make a case for the Pac-12 because they've got Washington undefeated, Oregon close, great game, Oregon State 6-1, USC's a one-loss team, Utah's a one-loss team. The Big Ten is top-heavy with Michigan, Penn State, and Ohio State. After that, I'm not so sure. Hey, the ACC's got Florida State, North Carolina, Louisville, Duke. Not bad at all. Which do you think is the best darn conference in America in 2023?
It's ironic, but in their last year of existence, the Pac-12 might be.
Isn't that something? I agree with that.
They got some, 2 or 3 really good teams, even more. I mean, like you said, Washington, Oregon. I mean, Oregon State. It's crazy that their last year of existence, they finally showed up. Crazy. That's college football, though, man. Yeah. Last week they had some of the greatest games. Last week, some of the greatest finishes I've ever seen.
Great finishes. Yep, absolutely.
It was unreal.
I mean, even games like Boise State, Colorado, and even I stayed up and watched this till 2 o'clock in the morning. Idaho and Montana. Did you watch any of that game?
Was that last night?
No, that was a few nights. That was Saturday night at 2 in the morning.
Yeah, I didn't stay and watch that one, but I watched.
Crazy.
I watched the Colorado game late.
That was nuts.
That was a great game, man.
No question. Gotta love college football. Gotta love Ron Higgins. Hope you had a good doctor's report this morning, and we'll do this again next Wednesday. Thank you, my friend.
All right, man. Take care.
That's Ron Higgins, our SEC historian again. He's brought to you in part by the good folks at Genesis of Olive Branch, our title sponsor, where you got the best product. That's Genesis, with specials on the GV80 and the GV70 and the best darn crew. Customer retention always great because they take care of you at Genesis of Olive Branch. That'll do it for me. We'll see you bright and early tomorrow morning. We got Johnny Radio coming your way next. Have a great day, everybody.